All right, let's open the Estacada Traffic Public Safety Committee. Call to order. Could I have a roll call, please? Evelyn?
Chair Moriarty,
Here.
Commissioner Dolezal,
Here.
Commissioner Parson is absent. Commissioner Dobbs,
Here.
Commissioner Owens,
Here.
Commissioner Sedgberg will be here in a few minutes,
Yes.
and then Counselor McElroy.
Here. Excellent. All right. Do we have any comments or anything from the community? The Harris family? Anybody? Okay. All right. Moving on to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the August 2023 minutes?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, make a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. All right, presentations and reports
We do have an update from Lieutenant Mendoza, but he's
later.
Yeah.
Okay,
running a little late.
sounds good. All right, first on committee business. Discuss applicants Christina Adams and Abraham Smith. Okay. Anyone?
We have another applicant,
Go ahead.
Tasha Harris. You turned in an application? And, do we have that?
I did not receive it.
Did
Okay.
you passed it on, right? You mailed it to Melanie?
Well, I didn't have one for
Oh,
her.
oh,
No,
okay.
but if she submitted one, that's
But you did submit one? Okay. On the 14th.
Okay. Did
Okay.
you bring it in person? Okay. Did you bring it to the front ladies? I did. Okay, I'll check with them
okay.
and then send that all to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now that there's 3 for 2?
Yeah.
Or conceivably 2?
Yes.
Okay.
And I do want to know, I don't know if all of you were here when I was talking to Moriarty about it, but Mitchell is planning on resigning, so you
Right.
will have 2 openings now.
Right.
And since you have another applicant, we can keep it open for
Okay.
discussion until you have time to review that.
Okay. Is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
And then we'll get everything over to you, Counselor.
What's that?
We'll get everything over to you.
Yeah.
The 2 names.
Hey,
All right, go ahead.
Jim, what responsibilities or committees was, who did you say was leaving?
Mitchell,
Rich
Was
Parson.
he on any other committees or did he have any other
I didn't
duties that we
believe
had
so.
assigned out or
Mm.
that you're aware of? Okay.
Mm. No, I think he might have done something with,
I thought you had
Facebook or
assigned him to do
something.
something. That's why I was
I think
curious
that
what
was-
we're gonna give up.
I think that
losing
was
him,
it.
and if we need to make sure that gets not dropped,
right.
but I don't remember what it was.
So we can go back in the minutes and check that out. Okay. All right, transportation system plan. That seems to be every meeting these
Mhm.
days. All right. What do we have for that? Evelyn, do we have a,
I think Taylor just wanted to confirm who will be attending.
okay,
And then it's open for you to discuss with what questions you would like to ask at the group session.
okay. I think I wrote it down last night with all the dates. My goodness gracious. October 23rd. Before the city council meeting on the 23rd.
Yes.
Well, there's one on the 17th also,
Thank you.
and I'm going.
You want to-
And then on October 2nd.
Yes. There's
So
3.
what time is the one on the
Second,
17th?
I- that one.
That's the one with the DEIC that, so the city council meeting last night. Do you have a time for the October 17th one?
Let
Evelyn?
me pull it up.
Thank you. Oh, it's on the website?
I believe so.
I don't think I'm.
October 2nd is the DEIC meeting at 5. October 17th is the stakeholder group meeting at 3:00.
Okay,
And then October 23rd is the city council meeting at 6 PM.
okay.
So I can make the 17th, I'll go on the 17th, but I'm out of town on the 2nd. I didn't know what's going on.
Okay, yeah, I can also participate on the 17th also. That's 3 PM. All right.
Correct, yeah.
All right. Excellent. And does anyone have anything specifically or questions about the joint session or that we need to come up with, or we just all have
On
certain
what-
ones
On which
for the TSP, Transportation System Plan?
questions for them at the meeting?
Right.
Do we need to, do we say the questions now or what?
No, we don't have
You
to.
don't have.
But
to,
if we
just
wanna-
To help you get ideas
Yeah,
going
exactly.
or.
If there's like 10 questions, I can
Well,
do 3 and John can do 3.
Well, one of the things I'm gonna look for is, remember when we were talking about that list was showing developer paid?
Right.
I'm gonna count them all up and see where they are. Cause I mean, there's so much construction that's gone on. And, you know, once it's built, they're gone.
Right.
So, I'm gonna focus on those specific ones that were 100% developer to
Okay.
see if any have been accomplished.
You're referring to failing intersections and stuff like that, or?
Whatever, honestly, I
whatever
don't remember
improvements
now,
are.
but the, you know, there's like 100 and some of them say developer 100% or something like that. And I'll be asking about those specifically.
Okay. Yep. That's good. Anyone else?
no, not.
Everyone's doing their homework the next few weeks.
I mean, I have questions. If I don't write them down, then they slip.
Amen to that.
Another thing I'll probably ask about is a lot of the really inexpensive ones that the city, I think, might take over. We're like painting some of these. I don't know what they're called. There's a name for it, but I don't remember what it is now, but it's basically a way of, they're not crosswalks, but there's some way to show like a bike lane or
Oh, okay.
there's a name for it,
Not
but
the short line at the stop sign?
no.
No, okay.
Cause it was extended and it was like 10 grand for per location or something like that. And so I'll ask specifically about those, what their plans are they in the budget? Cause that's a city, I think the city's gonna be picking that up, if I remember right, in the TSP. And so those are quick and easy, or nothing's quick and easy, but you know what I mean? So I'll probably ask about those specifically also. And then I'll be quiet.
I would give the planning department a little bit of a heads up on those questions that you have about the developer paid things. They're not gonna be able to answer that on the fly. If you give them a few days heads up, they might have an answer for you that might be ultimately what you're looking is that it's happening. And you're gonna be left with, we'll get back to you later probably. If you don't ask that ahead of time, I'd give them a heads up
Okay.
on those if you get a chance to do that before then.
Be prepared.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to sit down with that plan and actually count and all that stuff. So I haven't done that yet. So maybe what I'll do is do that and then whatever data I come up with, I'll ship it off to you and
So I have to read something else.
you do,
No, I'm
you
kidding.
doing it. You're chairman. Sitting in the big chair.
Until how many months? All right, that sounds good. Anyone else have anything on the TSP?
No.
No? Okay. Casey, nothing?
Is the TSP available, the binder that they handed out to us last night, is that also available online somewhere for?
Yes,
people
it
to
is
reference?
on the city website
Okay,
and I can send it in a link to you all.
that would be great. So we have it in one place. Thank you.
Yeah.
That one, awesome. All right. All right, no one has anything else to discuss questions. We'll move on to number 3, the election of vice chair. Do I have a motion to nominate someone on this committee for vice chair to take Brandy Lidkey's position?
Well, I have a dilemma with that because I think honestly, Carrie and John are both deserving of it. They both bring a lot to this committee.
I don't have a coin.
I know, and that's my dilemma. That's why I started it with that. But they're both very knowledgeable and I think would do a great job. So it's not really a nomination. I know that's my dilemma. That's where I sit.
How about you, Mr. Dobbs?
Sure, I'll vote for John.
Age before beauty, I vote for Carrie.
Well, it's a tie. I guess we'll do this on the next meeting.
Sorry. So do I have a second for John for vice chair?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Well, you did the first.
I'll second.
Oh,
You want
I'll second.
Just want to make sure. All in favor of John Dolzall as the vice chair of Traffic and Public Safety Committee, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Welcome. Number 2.
Okay. And proudly serve.
Thank you.
Oh, boy.
All right. Now the good stuff. Got that out of the way. Hey, chief. Come on in. All right, moving on to the Broadway handicap ramp and crosswalks. Are you able to pull up the videos, please, Evelyn? Just to give something we can talk about here. You'll hear a lot of motorcycle noise there.
Share it.
Okay. Just to give everyone an idea of where it's going to be between Spiral Gallery and Whitney Signs on Broadway. You can see where I started walking right off the bat here on Broadway by Whitney Signs. I'm walking towards Spiral Gallery, and there's no ADA ramp there. And then you can see the 2 handicap spots over there with the 9-foot space in between. So both are accessible on that side of the street, but we don't have any on the other side of the street. And then walking from Spiral Gallery side over towards Whitney Signs. You can see both handicap spot and the space in the middle there. All right, what does everyone think? How are we gonna recommend to the city council there to place something over by Spiral Gallery side? I know there's not a lot of room there. There's benches there. There's a middle area where you can sit. And then there's spaces on either side, right in front of the gallery and then to the left of the gallery. Does anyone have any ideas?
Well, when pulling the tape on that out there, it does shoot across at an angle. So what's fixed on the side where the sign company is, that side's ready. And what happens is on either side, you have space to open up for somebody to get out and also come around to the side on either side. So when you look at the video, the other side has the concrete things with real cool metal decorative stuff of like water running. It's pretty cool. But to come across that area, you'll be limited to one side of that. If you pull in and you have a door that opens up and maybe a wheelchair comes in the side of a van or a vehicle, that doesn't work with that there. It works on the right side, but then you have to, if you come out of the vehicle with a wheelchair, you have to go out onto the sidewalk, come around, and then come through the 2 concrete on each side, decorative concrete things. So it's just kind of a difficult thing for a person to get out. They can't get out on the side where the first concrete, the far one, is on the left, because they would be going into that for a lane for a wheelchair to come out of. The other side you can, but then once you get out, you can't cross the street right there unless you do something with that parking lane on the right side. So a wheelchair coming out of the side of a vehicle has to come out and then go towards the sidewalk, come around, go around the other decorative concrete thing, and then come through the lane of that. It's, I know it can be figured out. It's just, how do you get the vehicle, the wheelchair, and the person out of a vehicle? That's the issue. Where do they go once they come out?
Go ahead.
So this is the first time hearing of it. And so I'm assuming that the 4 corners are all ADA what's the word?
Well, everything-
Compliant.
Everything's flat on Broadway down towards Figaro's. There's no, but.
So
there's-
the four corners though are wheelchair accessible
Right.
and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
And so, and I get with the video, I get the ramp right there by the two, handicap, thank you, handicap parking spots. Are you sure you want to reconsider that book?
Yes.
So I guess the first question is, why is this even an issue? If is the idea to put handicap spots on the spiral gallery side of the street?
Yes.
And so,
It would, but I think it would be one, if you're gonna put one, say, to the left of the feature, you'd have the one handicap spot and then the one with the 9-foot clearance. So they could either go up to the sidewalk there, like Carrie was saying, and come around to the feature and then make that a ramp there at the edge of the feature there, Broadway, so they can go across instead of having to go all the way down to Reliance Connects, all the way across the street to New Lantern and come all the way down to the same spot. They just come straight across the street right there in the middle
so there's not a disabled spot right there now
on that
on the
side.
spiral
On
gallery
that
side.
Right
There
there.
it is, right there.
So the question, I guess the question goes with John. What was that originally meant for? Something, or is that just decorative?
That's beautiful. I love
It
that
is.
spot.
Oh, it's cool looking.
Yeah,
It's a nice place to sit down and, but what was it designed just for aesthetic purposes, or was it designed to go across the street to the opposing side at an angle where the ADA stuff is?
so are they talking about taking that whole thing out?
No,
No,
no, this is
And
just
so
something,
then-
we're just talking here.
Yeah, no.
That's all. I
Yeah.
don't wanna, that's a
Chill.
good job there.
So then, because another thing, when we were talking about the Main Street design was number of parking spots and that kind of thing, and
Mhm.
what's that gonna do to that? Because,
Take
parking
two
on-
away.
right.
Mhm.
And so has there been a demonstrated need for a ramp in the middle of the block on both sides versus on the side where you actually have the handicap parking?
Well, there's a ramp on one side, but
No,
not on the other
understood by the
side.
handicap parking. So
Right.
that's logical, makes
Right.
sense.
If somebody went to the right side of that, they would have to take up the next space over to
Right,
get over. It would have to be designated with a wheelchair ramp.
right.
And they'd have to have the slash marks painted on the side to be able to get out. Otherwise, there's no room for them to get out. So to say, okay, we allow one wheelchair per Broadway street in this area. One vehicle with that. So, right, I mean, if somebody comes with two vehicles, they can only do it on one side. That's the side of the where the sign shop is.
Right.
So if that's taken, then, I mean, I don't know, these are just questions of,
Sure,
if it's taken, where does that person go now?
Right.
Do they go up the street? Do they go to the bank area? Do they go, if they're coming this way? I mean, Broadway crowds in pretty good on a hot day, and
Yeah.
the business, I mean, everybody likes to walk around, it's nice.
I mean, we saw it just at the Oktoberfest
Yeah.
and it was packed. And having that space to congregate and stuff, I would hate to lose, that much space on, the two or however many blocks that is, that, the town's really been focusing on, and rightfully so. It was wonderful.
Right.
And so I would like more information on, like, between those, or say on that block, both sides, total number of parking spots,
Mhm.
number of handicap spots, and is there some kind of ADA ratio that we're responsible for? There may be. So I think just more information.
Can you shoot the other picture, Evelyn, please?
To the left of that, I think.
While she's doing that, I was just going up and down the street, and going south, there are no handicapped spots, no ADA spots
Okay.
on the southbound. But on the northbound, there's those two, and then there's some up by Lou's.
A lose, okay.
But
Right.
yeah, that's it.
So
So
that's
everything
where it'd be.
southbound, there's no,
Across from the bank.
Got it, across from the bank.
So that's to the left of the feature there. Near the
Yeah,
dance studio.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots, it looks like.
Yeah, then Justin Estacada and then the bar at the end there. Well, we can do all that. We can,
Could you not turn those 3 spots into just 2 large spots? With the cross, with that no-go zone where they can unload a wheelchair?
well, my idea was just those 2 spots there. The left spot being handicapped and the one on the right, according to the regulations, has to be the 9-foot lines. But like on the other side of the street, that has both on each side. So you can get out of either vehicle, you know, on the left side and on the right side, on the other side of the street.
Right.
And it would just, that would take up what, 3 there or 3 on the other, like right in front of Spiral Gallery, and that's, you know, that would be too many.
When in doubt, count. I say
Yeah.
we just go
Okay.
count spots and you know, and look and see if there are regs that we have to follow. But I would have hoped that that would have been part of the Broadway design anyways.
I know it's something they talked about in the past. It's just something that decided to revisit just because it got brought up to me, that's all. That there was only handicap parking on one side of the street.
Did-
That's all. Go ahead, Mike.
Were you talking about putting a ramp on the other side as well?
At the, just a suggestion, and again, I don't know where the best place would be, but where that feature is,
In
To have the
between them,
ramp
to have
there.
the ramp there. I was just thinking if they get out there, they're gonna wheelchair out into traffic
right?
around the vehicle and then get on, and then go up the ramp.
Right. Well, and I didn't know if where those 2 spots are on the left of the feature, go up to Spiral Gallery and then come around in the middle of the feature and then cross the street. Because
Hmm.
like you said, you come right out into traffic, that would be
So there'd be 2 ramps.
possibly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think with the standard, like ADA standards, there would have to be the ramp that goes right onto the sidewalk.
Okay,
But that other one would be a good idea if they were to cross the street there to get to the ramp up.
okay.
But that's crossing the street in the middle of the block. Can you get ticketed for that?
Well, wouldn't it would be lines painted and everything, right?
Right.
I mean, designated for,
Yeah, I think if you were to put in a ramp there, then you would want to create a crosswalk from ramp to ramp at that point, which is mid-block. And I think that's probably why that wasn't done in the first place, because then you're creating a crosswalk in the middle of the block.
Okay.
It can get a little dicey when Broadway is packed out and the trucks are lined up there. The line of sight is not very advantageous to like see someone, not so much someone slowly moving in a wheelchair that may be expecting, but just a kid, maybe 14 or, running their mouth and just walking out in front, assuming that there's a crosswalk there, that it's safe. And then they come out behind a full-size long bed crew cab truck and pop out, and they're right in the drive. I mean,
Right.
I get close, my mirrors feel like they're gonna clip the rear of the truck. So if somebody popped out right there, not much reaction time on
I
that.
think adding a crosswalk, aren't you gonna have to have some kind of signage or a flashing signal? Which is gonna be an added expense. If you just throw a crosswalk up there coming out between parked vehicles. I mean, as many people travel that road, they're gonna get used to not seeing people, not even pay attention to it. I mean, but if you put signs up, you're gonna put those clear up on the sidewalk. Which means we're gonna look over parked cars to see the sign. I just don't know how that's gonna. I just don't see how that's gonna work out. I mean, you've already got crosswalk on both ends of the block. And we're trying to put one in the middle. I just don't think that's the safest way to go, especially, I mean, someone in a wheelchair is gonna be obviously a little bit slower.
Right.
To get across,
Definitely.
than your average person, and. I don't know. I don't think I like that.
Possibly
idea.
nixing the crossing and keeping the extra parking on that side that just goes directly onto the sidewalk, and then they'd have to utilize the corners for crossing.
Right.
That would get them parking on that side of the street. And then you'd be able to get up. That might
Yeah.
be a solution without having to worry about crossing the street mid-block.
So what do you think? More ideas or more
data.
information?
When did that count?
Got it. Sounds good. Chief, do you want to go ahead?
Sure.
I know we just got a couple more things, but go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. Not a ton of updates for you this month. Following up on the last update with our, we're still in planning with the school district on the training and the use of these mass casualty kits that we got there. So just need to connect and plan and train and set up that training. But I will report back. I know you'd asked how many, and I talked to the deputy that's going to do that training and has suggested that, you know, we identify a group of people at each location to train. And then staffing wise, we're projected to receive a new deputy the end of October, beginning of November. And then we're going to be, and then we are on the list to have an additional, which will be actually a new position adding to the deputies we have come March. So still on track for that, and actually really looking forward to that. Does anyone have any questions?
Do they, on the placement of new sheriffs, is that cover the 24-hour shot?
Not yet. So if I were to project out, if we have 4 patrol deputies, which would be 2 more than we have now. So we'll get the 1 in March, and then once we add another one, maybe a year from there, then we'll be getting pretty close to 24 hours. Now, what you won't have is if one's on vacation or sick, and we don't replace that one, then that's not a true 24-hour coverage. And then our the hours that we're going to have them, it hasn't been set yet, but I don't think that we're going to do a complete 24 hours a day. And there's some advantage for some different scheduling, but there might be a couple hours that aren't covered by an Estacada deputy. It'll be covered by an East County deputy.
Yeah. Cool.
Thank you.
Are the deputies that are gonna be, when we are staffed up, are you guys using the heat map for call times to line out their shifts? Or is that? we're
Yeah,
gonna
that's a great
catch like
question.
The 90% of
Yep.
calls that would happen.
Yep,
with
which is
staffing?
great question. That is why we're looking at leaving a probably a 2-hour gap in the slowest time. When there's, it'll just give us an advantage of having kind of overlapping coverage when it is busier.
We haven't asked you in the last couple of times you've been here, but I was just wondering if you could kind of update us on crime trends, maybe just last couple of months. Are you seeing an uptick at anything that citizens need to be on the lookout for, be more alert for? Burglaries, auto burglaries, thefts, assaults, anything? Can you kind of just say how you see things going in the town lately, last couple of
Yeah.
months?
What I could do is, if you guys want to cover one more topic, I can pull up the current stats and
Sure.
run through that, and then I can
I'd
get
like that
you a
if you
quick
don't mind.
report back. Sure.
Sure, I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Chief. All right, so the next one, we're down in the committee business, Heath. Highway 224 crossings in the median areas. One over by Hitchin Post Pizza and Southwest Second Avenue and Pepe's Tacos and Southwest Wade Street. So if you could pull those up, Evelyn. Had a citizen contact me, reach out to me in regards to this. And the reason why they brought this up is that while they were crossing, looks like in an area where it's designated, obviously, but there's no crosswalk. And they had contact from law enforcement saying that they were going to be cited for jaywalking. So I wanted to make sure to go down there and look at it and see there's everything there. This is the one by Hitch and Post Pizza. There's ADA. I don't know if there's something we can work with since it's ODOT. I know the budget here in the city is 150,000 for median maintenance. So I don't know if we can work with Clackamas to try to get some crosswalks out there. We have some right out here on Broadway that go across the street to Underlay. We got 2 sets there. I think we can try to work with Clackamas to try to get, something done here. What does everybody think?
Did someone forget something? Wouldn't that be what you would expect to be included in the bid?
How much? I don't even know if they're done with it yet. Someone brought it up to me and I went over there and they're like, well, everything's all
Darn.
compliant. I mean,
Yeah.
the angle's kind of hard if you go through that with a wheelchair, but I mean, other than that, you can get through there. Okay. So what does everyone think?
It's kind of urgent to me.
Well, but I mean, we have to, it's gonna be ODOT. I'm pretty sure we don't pay for that.
Yeah,
I mean,
run
I'm
that
pretty sure
flag
they
up the
did this
pole.
once they finished Broadway. They finished the 2, they did all the ADA and all the crosswalks here. Right, on the signals, right? So what does everyone think? Oh, good with the crosswalks or?
Well, I was gonna ask the chief, normally, what do you see when you see this like this? What's your shot at it? I mean, for someone to come across that lane in a wheelchair, you're on the road a lot. You see this stuff.
Yeah.
How would you describe that crosswalk to be, just opinion wise? Would it markings, flashing lights, what?
So I do know that ODOT, the state, right, that they have certain standards that they use. I remember specifically asking this question because some of these, this is very similar to a crosswalk that you would see on McLaughlin Boulevard on 99,
Right.
where it doesn't have the painted crosswalk lines and it's intentional from ODOT for not doing that. I don't know exactly why the engineers do it that way and why it's designed that way. But it has to do with because it's a 4-lane highway. And I do know that there's a specific name. I don't recall it, but where they're basically making a maze out of that center median. It is to deter people from just kind of with your head down, going straight across 4 lanes and kind of forcing someone to pause and stop and think about, is it clear to go over the next 2 lanes? So I know that little jog they make you do there in the middle is intentional.
And see, that one is by Subway and Pepe's.
And that one looks
what
like
you're referring
there's
to.
not one there.
There's
Yeah.
not one there.
Yeah, it's just straight through.
shot across.
So all that would have been looked at by their engineers and
Okay.
I, without looking at the reports or why they decided to do it like that, I'm not certain. But I do know that those things are intentional. However, that conversation that I'm referring to, I was asking them, why there weren't painted lines and why there weren't the on-demand flashing lights. And so I think that's a concern that you could bring up to ODOT and find out if that's something that they could install and bring your concerns forward about the amount of traffic, the amount of pedestrian traffic, the speeds and whatnot, it being, inside the city.
In the TSP, were those intersections in the TSP? Do you remember that?
I don't know. I have to look on the 400 pages. No, just kidding.
No, because I remember something about Wade around there. I wonder if maybe it's in the plan.
It's not completed yet.
Maybe.
I have in the last stakeholder meeting, that's gonna be buttoning up the TSP is my understanding of it. They're getting the last community feedback And then the meeting with the DEIC, and then that's the final stages, as I understand
We
it.
can ask
for-
that question then.
What's
We'll
that?
have an opportunity to ask that
Okay.
question then
Yeah,
at their
on the
meeting, so.
17th, you should be.
On
able
the
to have an
17th.
opportunity to ask that.
Thank you, Counselor. And then, let's see, we're good with that one. Moving on to, more signage in the neighborhoods. Had someone reach out to me again in regards to, Campanella, Cazadero Heights, Reagan Hill, Lake Shore, bunch of neighborhoods. And they were just driving around, before you're doing some errands and whatnot, and some of the neighborhoods only have one 25-mile-an-hour sign. And I don't know if Don would have, or how many he has, but if we could definitely ask him to perhaps, with the city council's guidance, increase those, if everyone's okay with that. I don't know if anyone thinks about that. More stops, more
Yeah.
25-mile-an-hour signs. Because I didn't find a lot when I was driving around.
Right.
Even the new neighborhoods. They
Well, I
were,
think-
they were at the entrance. And they were like way in the back of Campanella were a few, but I mean, that's pretty big development. There were,
Yeah,
I know everyone knows we all took the same test. It's 25 miles an hour, but
in the neighborhood, that's what I
it's not
was
always
gonna say. You
followed.
start putting up a bunch of signs and it just kind of, I think, deteriorates the look of the neighborhoods. I think it's in the driver's manual that you get in the neighborhood. If it's not posted, you go 25.
right.
And I don't know. I wouldn't want to see a whole bunch of signs up in my neighborhood just for
Right.
that.
I just, when I go pick up my granddaughter at elementary school, people aren't going 25.
Yeah, yeah,
And that concerns me quite a bit,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, the buses, they do their thing, but I mean, people late to pick up their kids and grandkids. That's priority.
Sure.
That's all. And I get that with the signs, but I just think that we should just talk about it. That's all.
Yeah.
Everyone's okay with Don doing that or looking into it, or maybe Don can drive around and give us an idea of what we need.
Is there a standard of how many should be there?
I was looking for one. I couldn't find one. I couldn't find one. But,
Jim,
yes,
Chancellor, Lieutenant Mendoza, can I ask you a quick question? Is it possible to have two different speed limits on different directions of a street in the same location? Like if you're going this direction, it's 45, in this direction, it's 25?
I don't believe so, no.
Cause one of those, you just said the 25 mph. It was thinking of like when you're coming in Eagle Creek, when you come up off River Mill and you're coming up towards Campanella,
right.
you don't hit that 25 mph sign until you're past Campanella.
Past Campanella.
And then, so you're going 45 coming into it, and then you hit that 25 to slow down before the digital signal that
Mhm.
reads your speed. And then going the other direction, you're going 25 all the way through till you get past Campanella the other direction. So you got like a 45, start 45 here, start 25 here, and that in between, that's where I start to accelerate, because I just think, well, it's 45 the other side. But I mean, it's kind of a weird
Right.
spot. I've never seen that. I can't
Yeah.
remember seeing that anywhere else. Is that,
I'm,
should that be like that, or should they be?
I don't think so. It should be exactly the same. I can't think of a scenario where it would be different. And so I'm kind of wondering if maybe there's a down sign or we're missing a sign there.
I don't know if it has to do with one side of the street was Clackamas County and the other side was City of Estacada.
Mm.
Because I think that was something that was brought up a couple of years ago.
You know what I'm
Headache.
talking about, Brian? This spot
Yeah.
I'm talking about?
Yeah, but we just took over jurisdiction of that.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we'll be able to apply our standards to it. We can make that.
It'd be really good, in my opinion, if that 25 got moved back from past Campanella to where it transitions to where the 45 mph sign is going the other direction. And that way you're slowing that down before you get past the neighborhoods.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
people come flying in there, and I have a tendency to do it. It's like when I get to that digital thing, it reminds me, slow down, but it'd be nice if that started further back. It'd be good.
Right.
To slow
They
that.
do have a posted 25, but it's right up there next to that new apartment complex going up, and it's not an official one, I don't think, but It's up there. I've seen it, but
Leaning up against
you gotta
the
be
fence
looking
in
for it.
the
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Chief, do you have
Sure.
anything? Go ahead.
Yeah, things are looking good. Stat wise, it looks pretty consistent. Comparing last year to this year for the crime rates. They actually are for our average for this year, they've been down the last couple of months. Looking at last year, that's about the same. We're consistent for both August and July. And we'll see, hopefully we'll continue on that trend. Last year for October, November were our highest crime rates for the entire year. So that'll be interesting to see if that carries over for this October and November. So we'll keep an eye on that. And then I know one of the things that was up last year was stolen vehicles. This year that is down compared to last year with 8 reported stolen vehicles and 6 that had been recovered. And have to dig into a little bit more to find out if the other 2 were actually stolen and reported or if it was just a call for service. But across the board, crime rates are, as I mentioned, for the average for the year, they're both down this month and last month. So we'll keep an eye on the next 2 months to see if they follow that same pattern for October and November.
If those are property crime stats, do you have anything on the person type crimes? Are those
These,
non-existent? Or are they low, or where we sit with those?
I would say low because that's all combined. And even in the even in the low columns, I'm not really seeing any. Domestic violence is generally towards the top. I'd have to do a comparison on what it looks like for the previous years. Burglaries, stolen vehicles, violation of restraining orders, all those are on the low end.
When you said October and November last year, the crime tended to spike a little bit. What type of crimes were those that caused that spike?
That's just in general overall.
Okay.
I can dig into that
No, it's
and bring a
not. I just need
report
an
next year
overview.
or
I'm
next
just
month.
curious. Yeah.
Sure.
For next month.
Yeah,
But
yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I just want kind of a general how we're looking right now. So
Sure.
thank you. Appreciate it.
That's good. Just wanted to add on to what Chief said. Had one individual call me from Shafford, and they reported it, and I think they reported it, but they put it on Facebook.
Oh,
So I'm
okay.
hoping they reported it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and it was a stolen tire. They
Okay.
didn't get anything but the tire. And I think the same night they attempted to steal some gas out of their mother's car. So Shafford seems to be the hot spot
Okay.
for like cases of, the little things, but
Yeah.
there are things that we want to just, let everyone know what's going on.
Yeah. As always, if those little things come up, feel free to ask them to report that to the deputy and we keep track of it. And then obviously, hopefully figure out who's doing it.
Excellent, excellent. I do have a question because this is something that I was gonna wait until the end, but this is something that I reported, and it's in regards to the RVs out here on Larch. I'm sure you guys are aware of it, and this is something that I did learn in the response in regards to not making it a zombie RV parking lot. Hadn't referred to it as that, but I was just like, that was quite hadn't heard that before. And, seen it up in Portland, up on Airport Way. And, it's a concern for people. I know it's out of the way and I know it's difficult. And in this email, it was explained that it's difficult to get the RVs towed. How can we help you with that? We ran into something when we helped a individual in the community. We purchased a RV for them. We couldn't get rid of it off the lot. Nobody would take it except being free. So we had to actually say, it's free, come get it. Someone came and got it, and it was free.
Mhm.
And then we're able to move the one that we worked on for him. So how can we help you guys? For the city council, or I mean, I don't know, is it a state thing?
Yeah,
Because he went into responsible for hazmat issues associated with the units,
mhm.
you know, all the chemicals, even the human waste
Yeah,
and all that. And he went into, we are working with the Public Safety Committee in Estacada. And, you know, obviously he didn't know that it was me. And I want to make sure in the future that I put down who I am. I guess I just put my name, Jim Moriarty. But to me, this is an invitation to work with you guys on some things that might be little, you know, for you guys. And I know they've moved, you know, they're on Larch and they just move up to the lot,
mhm.
and you guys ask them to move, they might, you know, move back to Larch. But, you know, it's just having them around, I know is difficult, but I didn't know if you've had, you know, whether it be our portal difficulty with them or the library, or that's what we've had in the past, like 4 or 5 years ago, they were out at the library constantly.
Yeah, so a couple things there. Over the last month, there was one RV out there on Larch, and I think that maybe they were over on the highway for a while as well. We did convince those people to move along. The deputies did a really good job working on that one. The challenges with the RVs are so if it's just completely dumped there, we can work through that, but we have to ensure that nobody's living in it before we tow it.
Understandable.
Because then it goes into an issue of, you know, towing someone's residence, right? So if
Right.
somebody's in there, we can't tow it immediately. We have to look for some other solutions. If it's unoccupied, and then we can document and show that it's unoccupied, we can tow it. The challenge comes in on which tow company will come pick it up, store it, and dispose of it. And that becomes a challenge because, as you mentioned, the hazmat. So a lot of these are filled with refuse and garbage, and so there's not only that, it's a vehicle, right? So there's just a lot of hazmat materials involved in this, and so it's generally they charge by the length of the RV. So the larger that RV is, the more expensive it is, and you're looking at anywhere from a $3,000 to $6,000 fee to tow it away, store it, and then dispose of it, with majority of that fee being the disposal fee. So there is a one tow company that will do this, but it's obviously for a fee. So that's the biggest challenge. There are you know, some monies that are available through the county. If it's here in the city, then it's going to end up being the city's responsible to pay for the tow and the disposal. We did do one a few months back, and the disposal was actually much cheaper than I was expecting it. And if I remember correctly, it was around 1,800, maybe 2,200 for that disposable. That was, I believe that one was maybe
It was out on.
so, yeah, I was gonna say up near the library. So, and that one was taken care of. But that comes out of the city budget for those items. So it's definitely a challenge. It's something that everybody's struggling with at the moment. The county has set aside some money, and they had some grants from Metro that they were able to get to dispose of these, but that money is supposed to be used within the Metro boundaries. But that is something that could be looked into in the future of getting grants from the state or from Metro to specifically earmarked for that purpose.
Counselor, do you know of any ordinances that we have on the books right now that would cover the RV abandonment stuff, to where like the chief was saying, the city's responsible for the tow bill, but could we not have some kind of an ordinance or something drawn up that says that the registered owner, the city will go after that person to recoup that money, to reimburse the city for their expenses? It's not the city's fault that somebody decides to leave their RV on the side of the road. I mean, it's just that should be that person's responsibility. So I think the registered owner legally with our attorney could, if we had something drawn up saying, if this happens, this is what we'll do. Is there anything like that on the books for us?
There's nothing on the books, and I don't think that it would be likely. And probably the reason for that is because the ones that get dumped are worthless. And the reason that they get dumped is because they can no longer move them. And that's where the expense comes on the other side. And you can't, I think part of it ties back into if there's someone living in it, then it falls under the argument we were having about the right to sleep and stuff like that. But I don't think that you would recover much from the registered owners, oftentimes not the person that left it there. There's some transactions with that RV that happened and it never got registered. So you can't go back to the registered owner. And if it was the person that was registered it, that left it there in the condition that most of those get left in, they likely don't have much to go after. So you may be able to get something that maybe held up their license, if a judgment against them, but I don't think the reality of collecting that would be very realistic. And I'm not aware of any ordinance on the books right now that speaks specifically to it.
If it did happen to be the registered owner, or there was a registered owner, that the tow company can file a lien against that owner of the vehicle for those charges. But as Counselor mentioned, often it's, it may not have been registered for 17 years and it's changed hands, 17 times, and you don't actually know who, not even just the current owner, but the previous one or the one before that. So that's where it becomes really challenging.
I have a question, Chief. When sometimes the one that was over by Cazadero, I believe, was tagged. It was by the bridge there. And what is that tag? It's like a yellow or a green tag or something on. Does that mean this means it's going away, or what does that mean?
Yeah, those tags are often orange. I've seen some green ones, which might be the state police. But that is a notice of tow. So we're putting a sticker on that window and saying if this vehicle isn't removed, then it's going to be towed. And so it's just part of our legal due diligence of providing notice before it's towed. If it's a hazard and it's blocking the road, then it can be towed without notice. But if it's just abandoned, generally, there's some varying rules on this, but generally you put a notice on it for 72 hours and then.
That gives them a time to maybe get in there and get it out of there.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay,
That's
gotcha,
correct.
gotcha.
The problem with that with RVs is they know that not many of the tow companies will. It's like if there's a vehicle there, I believe that any tow company, once it's past that time, can tow it legally at that point, right? They don't have to be dispatched to tow it.
Yeah, how it works is the deputy will put the initial notice, and then that deputy or any other law enforcement officer will come by afterward and check to see has the time elapsed, has this vehicle moved. If it's still there, then they'll call in and request the tow. And then the tow company, the way in theory, the way it works, the tow company has 24 hours to respond to remove it. If it's a car, that'll work. But for an RV, they generally just will decline to come out and pick it up.
Got it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, cool.
Because
They'll
with the
decline
cars, there's
unless,
a cost benefit. They could lean it and auction it to get their fees back. But
Yeah.
with an RV, there's no auction it off because nobody wants to purchase it. So then it's just a cost burden to the company that picks it up to dispose of it.
Yeah.
After that period of time. That's what.
Yeah. They'll pick it up with that commitment that the county will pay for it or the city will pay for it. But without that commitment, they will not.
Okay, so does the sticker mean we're gonna pay for it? Is that what the sticker kind of does to the tow company?
No, the sticker means that we're giving you notice that if you don't move it, we're towing it. And then the deputy will call in for the tow. But unless it meets, the criteria from, what'll happen is the deputies will come check with me or with the city manager to say, hey, we've towed this RV, it's abandoned. What would you like us to do with it? And, it will make a decision if it's going to be towed or if we're going to try to figure out another means. And so when I say the decision to tow it is whether the decision, if we're willing to spend, say, $5,000 on removing that RV.
Okay. The 1800 sounded good, or the 1700?
Yeah, that was a good deal.
All right. Does anyone have anything else?
The two cars that were sitting there.
Oh, yeah. The other two cars,
Is that,
they've both been,
they're
they're
gone?
gone, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now that we have a third applicant, are we going to allow her, like we did the other two, next meeting or this meeting, to introduce herself? So we have that. How do we do that?
We can do that if you like, yeah, absolutely.
Because we've met the other two.
Like to come on up and say hello? Sure. Come on up. Welcome.
Hi. Do I have to wait for any lights? No.
Go right ahead.
Hi, I'm Tasha. I applied for the position here. And the reason why I haven't applied for any others or worked in any of the committees before, but I heard this one was open, and we've only lived in Estacada for a little over a year, but absolutely love it here. And I really love this town, and sorry. Anyways, I am not only a mother, a grandmother, a wife, but I'm also have a disability. And for me, public safety is really a priority for me, especially for children, for the elderly, for the disabled. So I feel like me being a part of the committee, I could really help out with that. And also hearing what our community has to say, and just being able to be a person in between and listen to what they have to say and help you guys out. So I hope you can give me the opportunity to serve on the committee with you and help our community to stay safer and a great place.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions? Tasha? Anyone?
No.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Tasha.
Counselor, do you have anything?
No, sir.
Thank you for being here.
Okay.
Chief, you too. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Thanks for taking the time. Anyone have anything else? See that Evelyn put down, next meeting, October 24th. Does anyone have anything for agenda items? I think, speaking with, Melanie, she hinted at the, police budget. She was gonna give us a pretty version of where the money's spent. But not, I think said she's gonna put together a short staff report. Does anyone want to see the police contract? I think it's kind of long, and maybe just a PDF. It's up to anybody. If anybody wants it, I guess we can reach out to Melanie. That's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does everybody want it? I know you'll read it.
that stuff.
I know you'll read it.
John reads everything.
I think everyone else will like Cliff Notes, right? Short version. All right, let's see. I don't have anything else. Does anyone have anything else? Gary?
Were we covered the signage. Yeah, that's good. That's
Yep.
the next meeting on that agenda. I'd like to make a comment on the ADA stuff that's going in the street up on Broadway. And I mean, the guys are just like busting buns up there. They're just making everything really. It's like you drive by one day, they're setting up, next day they're pouring concrete in the ADA for the sidewalks and stuff. It's just like they're really going to town. I mean, really making it happen.
That's good.
Quick stuff. So that would be Don DeRosa's team, right? Is that right? Who's doing all that stuff?
I think that's contracts.
Well, their contract.
Is that subcontracted
Okay.
out? Okay.
Everyone, one lady's flower though.
Wow, whoever's doing it's doing a great job and it's quick.
Very fast.
Yeah, it looks really good.
A lot better than the ones on the highway. The
Yeah.
speed at which-
No comparison, I don't think. But anyway, no, it's just drive by one day and it's set up, next day it's poured and they're done and they're going to town. So things are looking good. Quick stuff. Whoever's doing it, kudos. You know, A plus. I don't know, a lot of times people don't get credit for something they do. They, they work hard and stuff, but just saying. Looks good.
I want to give a shout out to City for Oktoberfest. I think that was a pretty big success. Seemed like a bunch of people down there all day long. So hopefully we'll continue that. You know,
Connie, give her a pat on the back.
who was it?
Good. Yeah, it was her.
Who was it?
Definitely.
DC, Connie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, well, they did a great job with that. I just wanted to acknowledge it. So
Anyone else? John, Heath, Counselor?
Good.
I ran out of fondue for the pretzel that I waited in line for 45 minutes. I was a little bit upset about that.
Stuck with
But other than that, it was a good turnout. I really enjoyed it until they ran out of cheese.
Well, I think there was only one guy doing that, wasn't there? When that
Yes.
whole thing, and that line was long.
Awesome. All right, so no one, does anyone have anything else for items for next month? For the 24th? Were we able to get a Main Street update?
Yes.
I know PG&E and council, or I'm sorry, infrastructure committee or planning or someone. I know they briefed on. I was just wondering if we could get a heads up on the timeline, and
Yes.
appreciate that.
Jim,
Yeah,
on,
go ahead.
would, something on, Lawrence and,
Yeah, go ahead.
Copeland. Got a call from, a citizen concerned about the, congestion on Lawrence Road and Copeland. It's almost like a 90-degree turn there. We documented, filmed the, bus as you're heading, west on Copeland, coming down into town. For a bus to turn there right onto Lawrence Street and head north. The bus has to swing into the opposing lane. There can't be a vehicle in the lane turning right. The bus has to wait, so he swings wide and waits for that vehicle to go. And if there's traffic there, he blocks the oncoming traffic and nobody can pass him. So he's out in the street like this, waiting for the traffic to make a right turn. And they can't make a left turn because he's there. So people have to back up. On the corner of Curran and
Deuce.
I see it's not like reinventing the wheel. What they've done there is from the point of the 90-degree turn, you go over in the radius 14 feet additional and make the corner, sweep the corner where you don't cross into the opposing lane. To do that on Lawrence, you would need to extend the culvert 10 feet out, which would put the radius of the curve on the inside right on the pin property of the monument of that corner piece of property. What's happened is someone went off the road, perhaps in the dark, I don't know what. There's parts of a car on the opposite side of the road. The culvert has been broken. And the tire treads and everything, we've just documented this. It was an accident. Somebody maybe at night didn't make that, could have thought they could sweep that corner and drop down in there. I don't know if there was a report of an accident or anything like that on that, but I know it dropped into the ditch, breaking the culvert. So the person that called said this happens every morning. When you travel down Lawrence, you cut into the back of a subdivision, wind around, and you come back into I'm not sure what the name of that subdivision is, but you come in the backside. So they've got a lot of heavy traffic coming in there every morning.
Curran Creek Phase 3.
Curran Creek, yeah. And so I think the issue might come up, the question of, okay, is this in the city? No, it's right outside the city, but I think it might be is it in the urban growth?
think that's.
boundary.
I think Lawrence is the border.
Lawrence
of
the border.
It's a
UGB.
border.
Okay.
So
And then on that side would be the county side, right?
Yeah, and the UGB goes right down the middle.
Middle,
of Lawrence.
So it's, that splits Lawrence?
Yeah.
And, okay, well, the issue's on the right side, on the other side, if you split it, so
County.
county, so is there any, okay, so I don't know what happens from that point, but it is a concern, it's an issue, and it happens every morning, in the morning with the school buses.
I know that Lawrence is in the TSP. I know for a fact.
Mentioned it.
You know, the big issue there is how far out everything is planned, because there's a lot of money in that plan. And so, I mean, that's great data information though, to move that one higher up the food chain. Cause I agree, I've made it through there. I was amazed that I could start at Deuce and go through all those neighborhoods and get to, you know, on Lawrence to Coupland. It was amazing, and it's only gonna be more, cause that's where a lot of the construction's going. So, you know, that's gonna be more urgent, cause that's just gonna get worse and worse sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and that the person that called and notified, and asked for the concern on it, said this is a repeated thing. Because the school's in it, it's between a time slot and everything bottles necks up. And if there's anybody that's running a tandem axle truck or anything like that, it's the same dilemma. You stop everybody until somebody moves. And so that's just a FYI to come and take a look at this on a resolve. That's what I got. We filmed actually, we filmed a bus coming for, and we can present that down the road, of the situation, so everybody can just see what's happening. Pretty,
So it was like the fire engine here at Fourth and Main.
yeah. When the fire engine, yeah, it's like, make people back up.
Quickly.
Anyway,
I think that's, if that's a county road, or that portion, that's something you can definitely take to the county road department. And it may already be on their list of projects, but you can find out where it is
Yeah.
on that list and where it's projected to be worked on.
yeah. That would
Thank
be
you,
a
Chief.
good answer.
Anyone have anything else?
Harry, if you don't get anywhere with checking on that, let me know. My neighbor's the head of the Clackamas County Road, so
Oh. Wow, good.
yeah, I can check with him too.
Good.
No.
Good to know. Awesome. So welcome, Mr. Sedgwick.
Sorry, I'm late.
Your vice chair is right here.
All right,
Yeah. John.
fantastic.
Kicking
Yeah.
and screaming.
So let's see. I'm sure you can go back over it, but I think it's October 2nd, the 17th, and the 24th are the meetings coming up, talking about the TSP. Don't have to show up to all of them. I think the 17th is a big one, the stakeholder one. And obviously the one for the city council is going to be mostly permanent, maybe not.
Is it the one on the second something else?
That's the DEIC, I believe.
Yes.
Yes?
Yep.
Okay. So. All right. I don't have anything else other than thank you, Chief, appreciate it.
You
But,
bet. Thank you.
good information. We appreciate your stats and all your solutions. We definitely have some questions, but I know you answered mine about the RV,
Yeah, perfect.
and I appreciate that. And anyone else have anything? On that, I will close the traffic and public safety meeting.
New record.
I think so.